night and you gotta laugh. And so here we are on YouTube live with Miki. Miki, it is so good to see you, Miki Kersgard. The mic is all yours.
Oh my God, once again, Lynn Johnson just cracks me the heck up. It's hysterical. You gotta love that when you have a friend who can make you laugh so hard you either cry or pee, but in some shape, liquid is happening. So, anyway, oh boy, man, let me collect myself for a moment and we'll say the truly thankful prayer, and that will get us in the right headspace. So, everybody, say it with me. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes with me, and I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen. Whew. Boy, that felt good. Yeah, I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. What I give, I receive. Isn't it great? So, lots to talk about this week. Boy, lots been going on. Um, but I'm going to start out with a totally random concept that came into me during the week, this past week. Um, and it's about, I got this image of the entire sonship being analogous to if the sonship were one body, we would all be the cells, the individual cells in that body. It's one body, just like it's one hand. We're all the individual fingers, but it's much easier to picture it as the cells in a body because there's so many of us. If I say just one hand, you're like, oh, there's five of us, and we're all in the fingers. No, we're billions. I don't know how many billions of cells are in a body at any given time. But it doesn't matter. But we're all cells within this body. But we treat each other so differently. One person's more important than the other. So it's like saying, you, kidney cell, have a much more, and this is true, the cells in the kidney have a much more important role in the body than the cells in an eyelash or a fingernail. The cleansing of my blood, is that what a kidney does? I think so. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. The function that the kidneys perform for us are significantly more important than what a fingernail does for us. But try picking something up without a fingernail. I know when I file all my fingernails down, I go around for a few days thinking, geez, those were way more important than I thought. And we keep, saying when we're judging a brother as being less than, or a brother as being more important than to us, we're saying you're a fingernail or you're a kidney. That one plays so much more of a significant role in our lives than another. We're making these distinctions, and we're all heart cells. We're all pumping that love and that blood for each other just as much as anyone else is. We just aren't aware of it that much. So I just kind of I enjoyed that analogy for myself. I don't know about you guys, but I'm only here to teach myself. So if you guys get anything out of it, that's great. So another thing that I was thinking about actually it's this past 2 weeks, because I wasn't here last week, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. Um, was something happened. So when last we spoke, um, I was talking about my old neighbor who told me that I was in a cult because I was reading A Course in Miracles, and how, I went into doubt, and that led to a whole bunch of shame, and I just didn't know where I was, and I got all in a bit of a fluff about it. And the next day, um, Dana Banana came on Friday, and she talked about, and I had completely forgotten about this story. She talked about how Regina Dawn Akers went into a similar kind of tailspin when a member of her family uh, thought she was crazy because of the spiritual work that she was doing. And I gotta confess here, I felt a million times better, because if this can happen to Regina, I'm not a complete failure. I based my entire self-worth on that story. Yeah, it made me feel a ton better. And then I realized, holy moly, you're basing your self-worth on the fact that Regina Dawn Akers went through a similar thing. And thank God I have a sense of humor. Thank God Lynn can crack me up the way she does. Thank God I laugh as much as I do, because like Dove says all the time, you got to laugh at yourself, at this stuff, at the seriousness of the ego, of whatever we think we're going through. Oh boy, that I would base any of my own self-worth depending on whether somebody else went through it who I think is wiser or more eloquent or further along the path or whatever. The fact that I would base my opinion of myself on that, I think is pretty hysterical. But on to other, even more hysterical things. I was not here last week because I had yet another stinking eye surgery, for crying out loud. I think this was my last. I am I'm gonna say that was that. I'm done. I'm done with this. Um and I think it went okay. We'll find out when I go back for an exam. But I had a bit of an experience a couple of days in the ensuing days. So that was not yesterday, but the Wednesday before. And I got back from surgery on Wednesday, and I just so they they do this twilight anesthesia. You're not completely under, but you go to a happy place, and I found out that one of the drugs involved is fentanyl. I'm like, no wonder it felt so good. And now I know why those people get hooked on it. Crikey. And so Wednesday, I just was in la la land. And I went to bed Wednesday night and I got up uh, on Thursday and I'm going about my business. And I was listening in. I had to go for my post op doctor visit around 11. So I got to hear a lot of um, what was going on, and everybody was talking, and nobody said, "Oh, gee, I wonder how Mickey's surgery went yesterday." And I was like, "Oh." And then at some point, it was just before I would have been going on, and Lynn said, "Hey, where's Mickey?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it took you until 11 o'clock to notice I wasn't." I just went on. So that was Thursday. It went on from there. Thursday afternoon, I was like, wow, nobody's called me. Nobody, nobody's asking how it went or how I'm doing. My eyeball could be falling out. Nobody would know. And I just got myself into a state. Wah. Oh, poor, pitiful me. Nobody cares. Oh my God. No one thought about me. I just went on for most of Thursday night. Somebody in our group here did finally text me Thursday, late afternoon, evening, something like that. But by then I had already worked myself up into a true state of self-pity. And Friday morning I got up and and please forgive me. I have gone into the confessional booth here. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. Oh Lord, amen. But you know how I am. Uh, I let it all hang out. So Friday morning, I got up at 8:30 Friday mornings. Karen and McKaylee read from Forgiveness in Jesus. And I wasn't I was in such a glum state that I was considering not even going, but I dragged myself out of bed and came in here to the computer and logged on to the session. Thank freaking God, because it just changed everything. And I'm going to read you guys a paragraph from the book here. Forgiveness in Jesus by Dr. Kenneth Wapnick, my Uncle Ken, whom I love so much. We got to this paragraph and it hit me in the head like a brick. And the paragraph before is talking about, how we identify with the ego most of the time. And then he says, if, however, we identify with our spiritual self, with the strength and protection of God that is our true reality and foundation, we will know we are invulnerable. We will recognize we have no needs that God has not already met, and therefore, in all caps in my brain right now, we need not seek for anything outside ourselves. And I'm like, Mickey, you were seeking outside yourself. You were looking for comfort. You were looking for nurturing. You were looking for support. You were looking for love outside outside yourself. And I woke up like that. And I was like, oh, good Lord, look at that. Look at what, and look at the Ken. God, I love him. Ken from up in heaven came down and hit me over the head with a brick with his words in that book. If I had stayed in bed wallowing in my self-pity, if I hadn't gotten up and come in and logged on to Karen and Michaeli's class, I would never have heard that. I would have moped around for the rest of the day. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it freaking phenomenal how much spirit guides us and says, okay, look at this. Look at what's going on. And then, even better, yesterday, um, Bob invited everybody to a special class with a teacher of his from a while ago, Sandy Levy London, Lunden, and Levy is Levey. Look her up. She's amazing. She's the person who taught Diedrich Walzak and provided him with a bunch of material that he turned into Choose Again. And she's very involved in the course. We had a session. Oh, Lordy. So, we had a session and she asked if anyone had a significant thing that happened to them from their past that we could use to work on. And usually what I do is I hold back I try really hard not to open my mouth, but Spirit just gave me a shove and said, open your mouth. And we wound up doing an hour-long session on this trigger from infancy that I had around abandonment. The recording for that whole session is available on our website. It's not on YouTube, but if you want to check it out, go to acimgather.us and you can find it there. But I divulged a whole bunch of stuff and got to work with this amazing woman clearing that. And in the middle of it, it's really amazing. Higher self was there sharing. And in the back of my mind, ego is saying, shut up. Will you stop telling people about all of your triggers and all your stuff? And I'm going, no, this needs to be done. It needs to be said. People need to, have an example of this stuff. No, shut up. It was just hysterical. It went back and forth and back and forth, but the whole thing had to do with that from infancy trigger of being abandoned and how it showed up just last week, still well into my adult life, and how these things follow us and how we really need to work on clearing them and 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 accountable be accountable for what is going on rather than seeking outside myself and looking for others for support and nurturing and love and comfort, to realize that that is where everything stems from with my triggers at least. And to be grateful, like Dove says, to be grateful for your triggers. Dove, I can never remember the second half of that phrase. Somebody's got it. Type it in the chat. And thank you all. I didn't say hi to everybody, and thank you all for being here. Rafi and Zulma and Karen and Roger and Dove and Bob and Lynn. I so appreciate you being here with me because I could not do this if it was just me. I know a lot of people can just come on and talk to a screen and imagine all their brothers and sisters out there in front of them, but I really appreciate people being here with me. So I thought I would read today from the section that applies the most. I know the last time I read from, what were we talking about last time? Oh, we were talking about willingness. We were talking about willingness, and I read from every section except the little willingness. And today we're talking about seek not outside yourself. And I thought, oh, let's go completely off my usual script and maybe read the section titled Seek Not Outside Yourself. But there was one other thing I wanted to talk about just because it was such a beautiful experience. I know you guys hear me talking all the time about the two gals that I do the lessons with every morning. And we decided to actually follow the instructions this time. And we're in part 2 of the workbook. And in the introduction, it says, so read these lessons, but there's a question. There are 10 questions scattered in between the I don't know how many lessons. And the instructions say that you should read the question for 10 days until the next question. And this week's is what is forgiveness? And we've been reading what is forgiveness every morning before we read the lesson. And I got to tell you, I don't know how many times I've read this page. It's 3/4 of a page in the workbook. But I'm finding sentences that pop out, and we all know. I mean, this is from the Course's greatest hits. Forgiveness waits and doesn't judge, quietly does nothing, offends no aspects of reality. It merely looks and waits and judges not. We know that little greatest hits album track, but there are so many other really good. I highly recommend that if you haven't started, we're still a few days into that, or just read that every day for a year. It's worth it. It's worth it. Things come out, things come up, things, come into your mind, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Pick one thing, pick anything in the course. Pick anything in the course and read it every day for 30 days. And I will bet you, I don't know what, but I'll bet you that your life will change, that your view of the course will change, that your understanding of it will change. Anything. I don't care what you read. Read it every day for a month. Anyway, let us go. I will get off that particular soapbox for a minute. But let's go to seek not outside yourself. Let's see what's in the chat. Rafi said, "What gets triggered, I welcome and release it. Once released, the peace, love, bliss I am is revealed." And that's what Sandy Levy-London was working on, and does an amazing job. She's got a book. Oh, I'll put it in the description box in the video. I can't remember what it's called. If anybody's got the name of it, if they could put it in the chat, that would be great. Um, oh, there we go. Karen put the second half of that. Be grateful for your triggers. They reveal your mistaken beliefs. I gotta write that down. They reveal your mistaken beliefs. Thank you. And uh-oh, we got more. Ken advises oh, good one, Karen. Ken advises, yes, I've heard this. We read lesson 136 once a week. And I did that for a little while, but I got to get back to that. And 136 is sickness is a defense against the truth. And Dove said, all I want is peace is the name of Sandy Levy-London's book. And I highly recommend you look into it. And she maps out in the book her clearing technique. But also I went on her website and she's got a lot of really good stuff on that. And Karen's got her hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I thought it was very interesting with Sandy when she shared her story. She said that she saw a homeless man and he had a sign that I'm homeless. And she said, I don't understand what that means. And she said, what does that mean? And he said, I only want one thing. And she said, what is that? And she said, I only want peace. And that's what gave her the guidance for her book. So I just thought that was her teacher was the homeless man. And I just thought that was absolutely beautiful and amazing.
It really. Bye, Zoma. Good luck at your appointment. Um, yeah, I thought that was an amazing story. She was trying to figure out what to call her book, and she gets the perfect title from a homeless guy on the street. That that was a beautiful story, and she told it beautifully. Um, and she's got an amazing website. She's got tons of information on there. So, okay, let's see what the course has to teach me about seeking outside myself, which is what I was doing. Ooh. And it starts out, oh, Deb, you're going to love this. Twice in the first paragraph. No, many times there are 4 and 5. Oh, 3, 4, and 5 word sentences in this first paragraph. It is chock full of Dove's favorite short little truth bombs from God. Seek not outside yourself, for it will fail, and you will weep each time an idol falls. And boy, did I. Boy, did I. You know, I'm like, all my friends who I thought cared so much about me, all my idols, all my special love idols, nobody called. You know, I sought outside myself and it failed, and I wept. I didn't really weep, but I did get bummed out. Heaven cannot be found where it is not, and there can be no peace excepting there. I sought outside of heaven, and heaven could not be found where it is not, and there was no peace. Each idol that you worship when God calls will never answer in his place. There is no other answer you can substitute and find the happiness his answer brings. Seek not outside yourself. So there's, not only is that a 4-word sentence, but within the same paragraph. And very rarely do we get this where it says the same exact thing twice in a paragraph. Seek not outside yourself, for all your pain comes simply from a futile search for what you want, insisting where it must be found. How applicable is this to that situation? I mean, it's like this is talking directly to me, directly to that situation that I was just in a week ago. All your pain comes simply from a futile search for what you want: comfort, love, nurturing, support, outside myself and apart from God. Insisting where it must be found. It must be found in these other illusory figures in the dream, these characters that I think I can direct with my will. And here's a 5-worder for you, Dove. What if it is not there? What if it's not outside myself? And here's one from the Greatest Hits album. Do you prefer that you be right or happy? Be glad that you are told where happiness abides, and seek no longer elsewhere. 3-word sentence, Dove. You will fail. This paragraph is intense. Intense. You will fail. But it is given you to know the truth and not to seek for it outside yourself. Oh, dang, people. Dang, diggity, dang, dang. I sought outside myself, and look what happened. I failed. I failed. You gotta laugh. No one who comes here but must still have hope, some lingering illusion, or some dream that there is something outside of himself that will bring happiness and peace to him. No one who comes here is not going to have hope for something outside themselves, or we wouldn't be here in a body. We would not be here if we still didn't need a classroom like this to learn these things. And thank God we're learning this stuff. When I think from whence I came before I started any spiritual studies, what a hot mess. Holy moly. No one who comes here but must still have hope, some lingering illusion or some dream that there is something outside of himself that will bring happiness and peace to him. If everything is in him, this cannot be so. And therefore, by his coming, he denies the truth about himself and seeks for something more than everything, as part of it were separated off, as if a part of it were separated off and found where all the rest is not. And that's something that I talk about all the time with my friends and my mighty companions. We're here looking around, seeking for something more than everything. We think we separated off from God, and we think from God, which is everything. And we thought we could separate off here and find something more than everything. I love that. I love to be reminded of that. God is everything. There, and I got this from Zulma. I used to say, there's nowhere that God is not. And Zulma said, yep, there's not one spot where God is not. And I love that. I love that little rhymey thing. Gets me going. As if a part of it were separated off and found where all the rest of it is not. This is the purpose he bestows upon the body, that it seek for what he lacks and give him what would make himself complete. Oh, you complete me. I still haven't seen that movie, Jerry Maguire, but I probably because I'll get really offended when I hear that line. And thus he wanders aimlessly about, aimlessly. And thus he wanders aimlessly about in search of something that he cannot find, believing that he is what he is not. I was believing that I was not complete, that I was not supported, that I was not loved, that I was not comforted, and that I needed to seek outside myself for all those things. What a crock. How did I forget that? How did I forget that I am all of those things, supported, loved, comforted, nurtured? But we're constantly seeking, wandering aimlessly about in search of something that we cannot find, believing that we are what we are not. The lingering illusion will impel him to seek out 1,000 idols, at least, and to seek beyond them for 1,000 more, like I said. And each will fail him, all excepting one, for he will die and does not understand the idol that he seeks is but his death, which we think is going to bring us, may he rest in peace. Boy, that's a hard one to let go of too, because we're brought up hearing that over and over and over again whenever somebody drops a body. May they rest in peace. Oh, good grief. The final idol. We think that's going to bring us peace. No, death does not bring peace. We just go from one room to the next with whatever baggage we're carrying. Its form appears to be outside himself, Yet does he seek to kill God's Son within and prove that he is victor over him. This is the purpose every idol has, for this is the role that is assigned to it, and this the role that cannot be fulfilled. Whenever you attempt to reach a goal in which the body's betterment is cast as major beneficiary, you try to bring about your death. Whenever we attempt to reach a goal that's either the body's betterment or the ego's betterment or our, little self-confidence's betterment, you try to bring about your death, for you believe that you can suffer lack, and lack is death. To sacrifice is to give up, and thus to be without and to have suffered loss. And by giving up is life, and by this giving up is life renounced. And here it is again, third time in one section. Seek not outside yourself. You will fail. The search implies you are not whole within and fear to look upon your devastation, but prefer to seek outside yourself for what you are. Golly, Ned, this is any time we're looking for anyone to give us anything as a separated. Miki, what page are you reading from? Dove asks. This is page 618 in the text. The section starts on 617, and it is chapter 29. I didn't say that. I usually tell everybody we're in chapter 29, section 7. Seek not outside yourself. It starts on page 617. I'm going to start paragraph 4 again. It's just talking so much about what we do constantly. And I'm not accusing. I'm just saying we're always looking for somebody to bolster us up, for somebody to give us a compliment, for somebody to tell us we're doing okay, for somebody to, it's a habit. It's an awful, ugly habit. Whenever you attempt to reach a goal in which the body or the ego's betterment is cast as major beneficiary, you try to bring about your death. For you believe that you can suffer lack, and lack is death. To sacrifice is to give up, and thus to be without and to have suffered loss. And by this giving up is life renounced. Seek not outside yourself. The search implies you are not whole within and fear to look upon your devastation. So we think we're not whole. We think we don't have all of this within us. We think we're not already supported and loved and cared for and nurtured. But we don't want to look upon this devastation, but prefer to seek outside yourself for what you are. Idols must fall because they have no life, and what is lifeless is a sign of death. You came to die, and what would you not expect but to perceive the signs of death you seek? No sadness and no suffering proclaim a message other than an idol found that represents a parody of life, which in its lifelessness is really death, conceived as real and given living form. Yet each must fail and crumble and decay, because a form of death cannot be life, and what is sacrificed cannot be whole. We're seeking, we're seeking, Ken Wapnick likes to call us puppets. We're as lifeless as wooden puppets. We're seeking life from other lifeless wooden puppets. Rather than looking to God, rather than looking to source, spirit, that from which we are, we're looking to other lifeless puppets. We're looking at other lifeless puppets to give us nurturing and support and comfort and love instead of where that really comes from. Yet each must fail and crumble and decay, because a form of death cannot be life, and what is sacrificed cannot be whole. All idols of this world were made to keep the truth within from being known to you. Anytime we're looking at another puppet, another idol of this world, we're looking for something that is not going to get, that's keeping the truth from being known to us, because it's only from our source that we can get anything. So we're looking outside ourselves for the truth. All idols of this world were made to keep the truth within from being known to you, and to maintain allegiance to the dream that you must find what is outside yourself to be complete and happy. It is vain to worship idols in the hope of peace. God dwells within, and your completion lies in him. No idol takes his place. Another 5-worder, Dove. And here comes a 4-worder. Look not to idols. Do not seek outside yourself. I don't think I've ever read this section with so much understanding. The clarity in this section is phenomenal. It's so simple. This is one of the most simple and straightforward sections in this entire course. Seek not outside yourself. Don't do it. Look not to idols. Can't be any clearer than this. Let us forget the purpose of the world the past has given it. For otherwise the future will be like the past, and but a series of depressing dreams in which all idols fail you one by one, and you see death and disappointment everywhere. And I know that I don't know where this saying originated, but there's a saying that says you come into this world alone and you leave this world alone. The rest of the puppets here can give you no comfort. Look to source. Seek not outside yourself. To change all this and open up a road of hope and of release in what appeared to be an endless circle of despair, you need but to decide you do not know the purpose of the world. And we don't know what anything is for. You give it goals it does not have, and thus do you decide what it is for. We give everything all the meaning that it has. You try to see in it a place of idols found outside yourself, with power to make complete what is within by splitting what you are between the two. You choose your dreams, for they are what you wish, perceived as if it had been given you. Your idols do what you would have them do. Absolutely. Because we're giving them all the meaning that they have. Your idols do what you would have them do and have the power you ascribe to them. And you pursue them vainly in the dream because you want their power as your own. Yet where are dreams but in a mind asleep? And can a dream succeed in making real the picture it projects outside itself? Save time, my brother. Learn what time is for, and speed the end of idols in a world made sad and sick by seeing idols there. Seek not outside yourself. Your holy mind is altar unto God, and where he is, no idols can abide. The fear of God is but the fear of loss of idols. Oh boy, never saw that one with this clarity before. The fear of God is but the fear of loss of idols. We think that if we go into the heart of God, we lose the biggest idol of them all, our identity, our personality, our mini Mickey me. I'm going to lose all of this. The fear of God is but the fear of loss of idols. It is not the fear of loss of your reality, because my reality is in my source. But you have made of your reality an idol. I've made my personality an idol, which you must protect against the light of truth. And all the world becomes the means by which this idol can be saved. Salvation thus appears to threaten life and offer death. I think it's the end of this personality, the end of this identity. That's the death I'm scared of, not the death of this body. I think I'm going to lose me. And that's the fear of God. Here we go. Forward sentence. It is not so. Salvation seeks to prove there is no death and only life exists. The sacrifice of death is nothing lost. An idol cannot take the place of God. Let him remind you of his love for you. And do not seek to drown his voice in chants of deep despair to idols of yourself. Seek not outside your Father for your hope. For hope of happiness is not despair. Holy moly, folks. Now there's a section you could read every day and wake the heck up. That was a big lesson for me. That was huge, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for going through this with me. Rafi taught me sign language. It's my only word.
It's all you need is love.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Holy moly. I don't know about you guys, but for me, that was flippin' transformative. And I hope somebody else got what I got out of that because that section is just brilliant and taught me a whole bunch right there. I don't think I've ever understood that section to the extent that I understood it just reading it with you guys. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I love you all. I had a great time today. Happy Thankful Thursday, everybody. And I'll hand it back to Lynn. Mwah, 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 mwah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mickey. And you, I mean, honestly, it's such a delight to be here with you and
Aw.
this whole thing. And honestly, I started feeling bad when you were talking about the lawyers, and I thought, well, that would be me, not to because I forget about things, and I'm definitely not the big texter or caller. Believe me, if you expect a call from me, you're gonna wait. Wait a while because I don't like to talk on the phone. But if I do call you on the phone, I definitely want to talk to you. And if you call me, I'll talk to you for sure. But me, I'm a non-instigator of the phone call. So
And I hesitated. I absolutely hesitated to even talk about it because I was like, well, I don't want to guilt trip anybody, like that. That, but I mean, really, it led to such an amazing outcome, and just the revelation that I had that next day with Karen and McKaylee was phenomenal. But and then I didn't even really look at. Usually, I try and go through the section that I think I might want to read the day before, and see if I'm going to understand it enough to even talk about it. But I didn't do that this time. I'm like, I have faith that this is the section that I need right now, that needed to be talked about with all of this. And holy cow,
I
you
was
know,
spirit guided,
absolutely.
yeah,
spirit
yeah,
guided, 100.
that that
Beautiful.
absolutely was. It was, yeah. Woo! I got chills, you
Me too.
guys.
I was just like, oh my God, I'm just sitting here blown away. So I'm just so grateful for you.
Uh,
And yesterday with Sandy, oh my gosh, and and
it
it
all
is,
fit together like a puzzle, didn't it?
yeah, 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 it sure did. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the YouTube.